All right, y'all. I wanted to invite you guys into a little experiment that I'm conducting with my drum heads. I use a mesh front for my bass drum. Not so much to use it as a resonator. I'm not even talking about the mesh drum heads that are being made. I just took a screen, that you get at the hardware store. Took a screen and I slap it in front, of the kick drum, and I made I fashioned a kick port for it, for microphone placement. I think a drum company like maybe Evans, I think it's Evans. They make those. Like ready made, but I've been doing them for a while. Before I knew that Evans did it, I don't know how long they've been doing it. I don't care. No, I'm saying, and I think it's Evans, and so I like doing it, because it's I like getting the full projection of the battery head, and you know and of course, you don't want to be looking into the bass drum. It's not as it's kind of unsightly, you don't want to be looking into the bass drum or have your audience looking into the bass drum and stuff. So it provides a screen, allows the column of air to just come on out, uninterrupted. Maybe the downside to it is that you're not going to get that resonation that you want, but I guess depending on the depth of your kick, it's gonna. I think it'll make up for that, to give you some of that resonance from inside the bass drum and before, as it comes out. So I think you're still gonna get that too. I'd like to experiment with getting and one reason why I'm doing this is because I want to experiment using, and this is experiment, guys, using these silent stroke mesh heads, because they do produce a little bit of tone. They're very quiet, but they produce some tone. So I'm like wondering, hey, what if I use this on the bottom here so I can capture some of that, I guess, concert, that single mount drum kind of feel, a little bit of a balance between that, concert tom and resonator feel, because these do have some tone to them. But what if I can capture more of the air being pushed through, more of the air escaping, but at the same time, will it give me a little bit of resonation too? So get a little bit of the best of both worlds, right? So that's what I want to try. But before I do, I got my resonator. I got my conventional resonator on here. I got my Remo Weather King Ambassador on here on the bottom, and it's completely, it's tuned all the way. It's not even finger tight. It's just on here. And then I got, and on the other side of it, I got, I like the suede, the ebony suedes, Emperors. I dig those, man. It's got that kind of tone where it's really warm, but clear. It's like a hot tub, right? It's just warm, right, but nice and clear. So it's got that thing going for it, man. It's got the hot tub warmth, right? So something like where some heads, man, it's got that warm feel, but kind of like that cozy warm feel, like I guess like your opaques or your coated. I think it'd be Emperor coated, just regular coated. It's got a warm feel. It's got its own type of warmth, right? It's kind of like got the dinner, but hope my dinner don't get too cold before I finish up with this. Anyway, so it's kind of like got that warm blanket, cozy, you like wrapped up kind of warmth, like kind of that velvet blanket kind of warmth. Whereas like I think the ebony suedes, they got that kind of warmth where it's like that kind of hot tub where it's clear, but it's nice and warm. So anyway, so I got that going on. So this is the part where I'm really inviting people to call me an idiot, because I'm going to tune. Some people may not do it like this. Some people do. I'm going to tune this, and what I like to do, only because I'm being like laser and just for expedience, I usually like to take like a weight, man, and just kind of like put it in there so it's always consistent. But I'm just gonna go ahead, because I'm clumsy and I don't always trust myself to make sure that I always keep the same amount of pressure at the same time. But you want to you want to go ahead and press that bad boy down the middle, and you're not gonna get a whole lot of ripples per se, but just to kind of iron it out, with the ambassador side, or these clear resonator heads. Kind of, I'm going to tune it up a little bit, and because what I'm wanting to see here is I want to compare. I want to do a comparison, and I'll play this back, and see what kind of volume I get you know, and what kind of varying tones I may get, you know, as I do this. Man, how'd you get so tight? That's more like it. Okay. I think I got some consistent tone going on here. I think I do. Now I'm gonna do this kind of. I want to keep it on the loose side a little bit, and then do this side. I'm not gonna do it to like a. I'm not gonna be so specific about the pitch. I want to go ahead and get it tuned up more to taste than the pitch. You know, if I like the way that it feels, you know. I'm gonna bypass all the finger tight stuff. Just kind of. But get it to where it's just, you know, make it a little bit more than contact. You know, the tension rods make a little bit more than contact. That way I have to do like the whole overturn and then back off, you know, which isn't a bad habit to do. Just trying to, you know, like I said, this isn't the nitty gritty of what I'm trying to get down to. I want to actually see what I get out of the resonators. I usually don't like sometimes, you know, you may see people like when they tune their drum or something like that, you know, when they take it off, they set it on a table. It's like I put this on my snare stand, but you know, it don't like being on a snare stand. You know, see it sliding around all over the place, like trying to give a cat a bath or something. And somebody called me while I'm trying to do my thing, man. It's like, why aren't y'all watching my show? Well, I'm pre-recording. They don't know. Anyway, you know, because when it'd be sliding around in here, man, I'm trying to give a cat a bath, but I don't want anything to interrupt, you know, the air, you know, how much airflow. And so this is, like I said, tune on little tight on 10, little tighter. Now I'm gonna see if I can back off it a little bit. I like a more, you know, deep sounding tom. I try to anyway. The rock and roll, baby. And I'm wanting this to sound as naked as possible. I'm not using like a mic setup or anything like that. I'm just using the camera mic. Cause you know, I'm trying to get as, you know, like as naked as possible, man. No processing or nothing. That's just how you're gonna hear it. So it's not gonna be very complimentary, but we're just trying to see like how good it's actually gonna sound naked, right? So, I like that, right? Maybe like a little too rattly. It might just be vibrations from like metal contact, you know, like a maybe. Man, that's got some good sustain right there. Right? So that sustain is nice. There's still kind of like that farty element there. I don't like that. The sustain, which is weird, man, because the sustain is good, but it's farty. Oh man, that ring is nice though. It's just like singing, man. It's just hanging out there. Oh, and I should say, I also wanted to do this too. Like this head on here is old. This has been on here for a minute. like I said, I want to try to get it. I want to see how good it's gonna sound, like in certain conditions. Like I said, just on from the onboard mic to just being an old head. I want to see what these things will sound like just with those kind of conditions. If all the conditions are really good, like a good mic and a brand new head and all that sort of stuff, it probably sound like just amazing. So I'm trying to dial in a tone, redial in a tone with an old head, either because I'm really cheap or lazy, or just because I really want to conduct a genuine experiment. Okay, so there's that with the resonator head on the bottom, both tuned, pretty low. This is a 12-inch, right? I'm sorry, a 10-inch drum head. Right. So it's still able to get some. So it's, you can still, hear the notes. It's not too mushy or anything. All right. So I guess, that's what did resonator tune kind of low. And if you want to get more of the, I guess the jazz kind of feel, you can leave the top head the way that it is. Sorry for like the more experienced drummers, but I'm most likely telling y'all anything that you guys don't already know or haven't experimented with. But if you're a new drummer and you're just trying to look for some stuff to kind of get the tone that you're looking for, hopefully this video will be kind of helpful to you. So I'm going to crank up the resonator head, and we'll see like how much influence the resonator head has over the tone. It's not just a point of like having spending extra money to have like a head on the bottom of your drums. It actually has a purpose, and it will influence what your top head is going to sound like. So I'm going to go ahead and, tune that up, about a quarter turn or so. You want to like try to make sure it's even as you could possibly get. Sometimes it'll be fussy on there. Like I said, I'm clumsy. I might not be able to do that as easy as some drummers do. You don't want that. Like how a basketball sounds when you bounce it and it's kind of like bling, bling, bling. I don't like that in my drum sound. So and if you ain't tuning right, those frequencies will, when it bounces back, you get that gwing, gwing, like that bouncy basketball sound. If it's a basketball, it sounds great. That may be a sound that you really dig. On the court, and you just love all that sort of stuff. It's great if it's a basketball. It's not great. It's not a great sound for your drum, though. Okay, that sounds pretty balanced all around. Okay, so we tuned this up a little bit, and if you remember what the top head sounded like, you'll know that it was a little deeper. See how it changed? It's just totally affected. It's beautiful, though. Right? Sounds nice. That's like, if you're more like the jazz kind of drummer, some drummers, particularly in jazz, they like the toms tune up a little higher, get a little bit tone. When I say tone, of course we're talking. There's different kinds, but there's a particular kind of tone, a little bit more melodious, right? A little bit boom, boom, you hear those boom, 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 boom. You want to hear a little bit more of that. You want the drum to like sing maybe like even more of a soprano. Rather, it's like your drum becomes more of a soprano than a tenor, right? We call them tenors, because it's supposed to have like this kind of, this kind of, this bassiness to it, even in your toms. But you may want your racks to sound a little bit more soprano-ish, So tuning the bottom head, you don't have to tune the top head so much, tune it up. You just go ahead and tune it the way that you to give it just a little stretch on there, and then from there tune the resonator, and it'll give you that, a little bit more of that soprano feel. And it's like you want to be able to have it to where, the still, even if you're going to tune the resonator, like a little higher, and they're going to be a difference in pitch, you still want them to complement each other, man. Because when you lay into it, you want it to feel like if they don't resonate together right, you want your stick to rebound, but you don't want your stick to feel rejected, right? So it's like sound is dependent on air. So if the frequency ain't right when it's moving through the air, and you got this difference of pitch, It'll feel like, you know, your drum is being, your stick is being rejected rather than accepted. And there's just a lack of reciprocity. You want that reciprocity when you hit. When you hit the drum, you know, it's not like you hit it and it's like, ugh, you know, and it sends the stick back at you like, ah, like a magnet, like, you know, with two opposing sides of a magnet. You try to put them together and it's like, no. So you want to feel, you want it to feel like when you tune it. That's why I say, you know, it's good to have an ear to tune to pitch, but at the same time, you have to account for what it's going to feel like. And of course, if it's pitched right, you know, you will have these complementing frequencies to where it's like it'll accept the stick and rebound it the way it's supposed to. It's like playing catch with you, right? You have a good time playing catch, right? It's going to accept it and then rebound it. So you got this nice reciprocity. But you don't want that feel of like, you know, you lay into it and it's like it's off. You know what I'm saying? You know, so you want to kind of get that thing going on. So yeah, that was a couple of you know, experiments with tuning the resonator a little low, having like a controlled setting for the top head where it's just neutral, and I base how my drum is gonna sound based on the resonator head, right? So now let's try naked. All right, we'll take the resonator head off. Stay up there. Like I said, it's like trying to give a cat a bath, man. It doesn't want to sit up on here, this thing like that. But like I said, I want it to, you know, have as much, you know, be uninhibited. Is that the word? You know, when it's that sound wave when it comes out. So put it on stand. I know some people are like, man, well, you could have done this and you could have. I know, man. Just, you know, bear with me. Nobody's can't think of everything. Think about dinner. All right, let's try it concert style. Naked bottom all out. Sounds kind of cool, right? I feel like I don't know if did he use, what's his name, Keith Moon? Did he use concert songs? He's got that 70s kind of vibe, man. Late 60s, early 70s. You know, like you know, it's just that projection. You just hearing, you know, the top head, the depth of the drum is kind of like helping it to give it that, you know, the depth as opposed to shorter time is going to give it, you know, as the air escapes a little faster, you're going to hear it sharper, right? It's a little sharper when it comes out. As opposed to when you get a little bit more depth, it's going to be a little bit more, you know, the air is pushing and then out, you know, woo, as opposed to a shorter decay from the shorter depth. It'll be like boom, you know, it just comes out more attack. So you can get either more attack. You kind of balance out how much depth you want to get that balance between attack and depth. You know, just short drum. You know, sharper attack, longer drum. It's still gonna have a sharp attack, but it's gonna be you're gonna get a little bit more a little bit more deep. Depending on the size of the drum, it's gonna add the deepness to how it sounds. So I'm gonna tune that up a little higher because we're hearing it naked now. No other mount on it. Pitch it up a little bit. It's already, you see we take the heads off and it gets a different characteristics and it sounds deeper. So I just tuned it up a little bit. So there's, now we heard a little bit of that, you know, tuned a little on the low side. Yeah. All right, let me see. Tune a little on the low side. Tune a little bit on the medium high side. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and tune it back. Now just go ahead and leave it on here right now. So we heard what it sounds like. Make it. Notice how this thing just keeps sliding around, man. Come on, man. I don't feel like raising up because this is my snare stand, man. I want to leave it the way it is. When I put this thing back, I want to just sit my snare back. I don't want to adjust or anything like that. So I'm just gonna, quit, behave. You ain't gonna behave. All right. All right. So there's that. Naked. Kind of like it, right? But I like having the resonation, man. And oh, so that's another thing I wanted to. We'll check that. We'll compare to see what the volume does, see what the decibel level does, and see what the kind of frequencies do. Okay, so this was kind of like sitting like that. And we'll compare it to the other one. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's put on a resonator. My informal kind of experiment here. Make sure all the inside nuts are all still tight. Sucks, man, when you be playing and you're flipping screws come loose inside of your drum. You be playing, you hear some brrr, you start rattling something inside. Oh man, my flipping screws came loose and popped off. All right, let's try. Let's try a mesh head. See what that sounds like. See if we notice any difference. If we get a balance between the two, a little bit of resonation while keeping a lot of that projection that comes with the more concert type heads on it, or unheady, whatever. Okay. Let's see what we get. Put this bad boy in there like that. Actually, what I should have done, and I'll probably do that after I get this on here, is just totally turn down the other head, or yeah, take all the tension out of it so it's a dead head, and then see what this head sounds like. My these drums are Pearl Masters. That's a blessing, favor from the Lord right there, baby. So I hope I'm doing the Pearl Company some justice for this experiment. Not sounding like some idiot, using their drums. Come on, man, you're embarrassing us. Okay, so let's go ahead and give these a little bit of tension. Silent stroke. Just like the name says, it is a silent stroke drum. Yeah, I got it tuned up. Just it's a little bit more, well, maybe like a half a turn more than finger tight. Right? So that's what that sounds like. I wonder let's see if we can actually hear some difference in pitch. Okay, so I can hear it tuning up. And of course, anything, you add some tension to it, it's going to increase. Okay. Let's see how it affects the top head. So we heard that with the resonator, you can totally tell how it affects the top head. Okay, so that's boom, 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 boom. what happens if I bring it down? I don't think it made any difference at all. That's my conclusion. I was hoping. I kind of, man, it's one of those things where you kind of know. It's like, man, but I gotta try it. I gotta find out, cause my thinking was, well, hey, the silent stroke heads, they're tunable. They're not very loud. That's the whole point of them. They're not loud. I was like, man, what if I get the best of both worlds of having this mesh where air can move through it and I can get, probably get more projection, but at the same time get some resonating characteristics. Man, I was gonna do the whole, I wanted to go back and look at it and look at the graph of it and see like that if there was any tonal effects, and it probably is, but I don't know if it's enough. I don't think it's enough to say, oh yeah, this is a better way to go. Like I said, unless you're looking for oh, hey, man, that could be a thing that you guys want to do too. Like say for instance, how this could be useful to you, because changing the silent stroke head and off and on so you can practice, so you're not getting on your neighbor's nerves and stuff like that. What you could just do is like, just if you're playing, here's your performance side, and instead of like taking the whole head off, just flip your drum, bam. Now you can just practice like that without having to go through the whole thing and taking the whole thing off. Just do that to all your drums. Just flip them over. At least maybe like a couple of drums you might be able to do that. You might not be able to do that as effectively like with your floor tom or something like that. I don't know. But it'll still cut you off some time. You could do them to a few of your drums. So that could be a way to go to make it a little bit more simple for you. If you're in a situation where you don't, want to play as loud to disturb your neighbors and stuff like that. So hey, maybe that might be a useful tip to get out of this video if you hadn't thought of it already. So there's that. And like I said, if you like the more concert kind of like style, that way you could have like the still mounted side, but you can still get that concert tom kind of sound, with using a silent stroke on the bottom, and still have it where people aren't, looking up your drums, like looking up your nose or anything like that, so you can still have like a full, mounted, look to it, and it serves for that. But as we can see, if anybody was wondering, do resonators, affect your drum tone? Yeah, they do, and you can get your top head sounding just the way that you like it. And if you have, and depending on what kind of genre you're playing in, if it's jazz, just tune your resonator up a little bit. And you can get more of that like jazz kind of tone, and it's really versatile. Like if you have like a opaque head on it, which is good for that, which can go from that to R&B, heck, even rock. It just depends. What genre you're in, and what you like, and what complements the music that you're playing. Sometimes they are kind of head specific, and they do have their nuances, y'all. It's not all the same stuff, and sometimes certain drum heads are better for a certain kind of feel. When you're dealing with the frequencies of like maybe like distorted guitar and stuff like that, you want to have drum heads that have the kind of, that can deliver a certain attack at a certain frequency to compete with those distortions and stuff like that. But if it's something like on a more mellow side, maybe if it's like neo soul, or if it's or even jazz and things like that, you may not need a drum that is so bright with its attack, because then it's like the drum can be like upstage, and you gotta you have to approach it a certain way where it's not where you want the kind of heads where it just complements. It's got that kind of attack that's not stepping on the rest of the band and being too pronounced. Where you're playing with certain kind of settings. So if you're getting into drum, you want to gigging and stuff like that. It's good to know what kind of heads that you'll be dealing with to complement the rest of the the group. And one thing about the ebony heads, the thing I dig about the ebony heads is that you kind of get the best of both worlds with all of it, man, because it's such a it just seems to complement everything. You know, it's got that brightness, but it's, you know, it's tempered by how it's a balance of brightness and mellow. So it does like a lot of stuff. So I'm particular to the Emperor black suedes. They got them in white too, so it'll look good. Like if you got like on the red drum sets, the black looks really good. You know, if it's a lighter color drum set, and if you don't want that kind of contrast, the white looks really good. So, you know, I think they got them in both. Anyway, y'all, I hope you got something useful out of it. Anyway, so that was so much for my experiment. Didn't come out as I'm not saying it came out bad. Just, you know, I was thinking I would get something else, and that was my theory, and I proved it. I don't think it came out that well. But anyway, it was fun. All right, y'all.